Hi, my name is Becca. Welcome back to Raising Them Simply. Here we share all about our secular homeschool as a family of 5. And today we are going to chat about the goals that we had set for 2025 and if we met those, and then what our goals are for this next coming year. So if you are new here, like I said, we are a family of 5, soon to be 6. I have a 2nd grader, a preschooler, a toddler, and another one on the way. I also am a part-time working mom as a nurse, so this channel is all things homeschool and how we make it work for our family. So if any of that interests you, please hit that subscribe button so you're notified for free of future videos. But let's jump into it. So I first want to do the little caveat that I am most likely not going to do a December update for you guys. I'll just briefly touch on here that we were sick for an entire week. A couple days before Christmas, a family member that we had who was on hospice passed away. And then a couple days after Christmas, we very suddenly and very tragically lost another family member. And so this past month has been really difficult for our family. So there's nothing really to update on. We finished the prehistory, which I had talked about on here already. And we weren't able to finish the math with confidence grade 1 for my oldest. That was kind of my goal, to finish that grade 1 before we started the new year. But with everything going on, we just didn't. I believe we have 2.5 weeks. So that would be about 8-ish lessons because we don't do the enrichment day with that. So that's pretty much where we landed for this last month. So I know that I did not upload one of the days because Christmas was coming up and stuff like that. I'm hoping that things are going to be smoother going forward, but I appreciate your patience and everything just as we navigate this difficult time for our family. So enough with that. I thought it would be cool to do a video because this time last year I did a video on all about our goals for 2025. I will link that video down below for you guys in case you're curious and you want to see it. But I've got my different whiteboards here with the notes of what I said our goals were for this past year for 2025. Both for homeschooling and personal. And then I wrote down what our new goals are for this upcoming year. So the first goal that I wrote down is that I wanted us, to finish the All About Reading level 1. My oldest is in 2nd grade and has dyslexia. Reading has been a big challenge for us. And I just wanted us to finish that. And guys, a couple months into the year, my son's reading exploded, things clicked, and we are actually already halfway through All About Reading level 2. So he completely smashed that goal. That has been going great for us. I did say that I wanted us to start All About Spelling and then get into All About Reading level 2. We tried All About Spelling. It was not a good fit for him. So we're doing something else for spelling. We will talk about that coming up here shortly because it's been going really well. And like I said, he's halfway through level 2 already. So he's been doing great. We also had the goal of doing the 1,000 hours outside using the app. We've attempted doing this in the past, but we did the paper tracking system, which is just hard in and of itself to try to remember to do that. And this last year, I was hoping that we'd be able to get close to the 1,000 hours mark because in previous years, I worked 4, 10, or 12-hour shifts in a week, and it was just hard for us to reach that goal. But we did not meet that goal. We made it just over 500 hours for this past year. We live in Minnesota, so it's very hard for us to do it in the cold months. But I also had 2 different surgeries this last year. I had a toddler at the beginning of last winter that was really difficult to get her to spend time outside because she did not like the snow last year. And we had some other health stuff and things just happened. So the other thing, I will say that using the app was a lot better. And I know we spent more time outside this last year than we would have if we weren't doing this challenge. Because there were times that we would do school outside and things like that when we otherwise wouldn't have. So I do think this is a good challenge, and we're going to continue to do it next year. But we did not meet that goal. Our next goal was that we were going to start preschool with my current 4-year-old. We did start preschool, and it's going great. We're doing all about reading pre-reading with her, and we're doing like number recognition and stuff like that right now with Purposeful Preschool from the Waldock Way. That's going great. I can tell you guys, it's when you go from teaching a child with dyslexia to not teaching a child with dyslexia, you don't realize how much easier it is. And yeah, it's going so smooth. I'm so proud of her. So starting preschool is going great. And kind of with that same vein, I was having a goal of trying to figure out a good rhythm on doing school with curriculum with 2 kiddos as well as with a toddler in the mix. I was a little nervous on how things were going to go and how we were going to get into a rhythm. We for sure had our moments, but I will say that my toddler, it is a whole lot easier doing school with her than I initially thought it would be, because she loves sitting at the table playing with Play-Doh or doing different things. She pretends that she does school with her little menu and a marker and stuff like that when the other kids are doing theirs. So that's going great. We for sure have her moments where she's screaming on me and climbing up me. Just this morning when we were trying to finish up our last reading for one of our curriculums, she was screaming on my lap and didn't want me to read. So we have our moments, but looking back over the last year, it's for sure going a lot smoother than I thought it would be. I also didn't know how it would go if my daughter ended up having dyslexia, and how I was going to make sure that I was staying on top of my oldest school with that one-on-one that he needed, as well as doing hers. And I think we're just also in a really tough season right now where all my kids are younger, and so they're all needing more from me at the same time. And we're for sure seeing the fruits of that labor later on, the later half of this year, where my oldest can do more stuff independently. But it for sure had its challenging moments, but I think we did end up getting into a pretty decent rhythm with that. Now for personal goals. I talked about wanting to be flexible and to let things go. I think we did a great job with flexibility this last year, especially with my surgeries and stuff like that we ended up having, and different health stuff that we had to kind of navigate around for our family. But the let things go part, in that video, I was specifically talking about how it's hard for me to juggle the homeschooling plus the homemaking plus the working, because I am someone who does not function well in a messy space. And we homeschool around the dining room table. So if the living room or the kitchen or anywhere around my vicinity is messy, it is really difficult for me to concentrate on that. So now, I will say I have gotten better this last year, because we do, at the beginning of the school year, like, I would not even attempt to do school if the dishes were dirty. Like, I would make sure that everything is cleaned up and all of that stuff before we sat at the kitchen table to do school. And I don't do that anymore. One thing that did help is I was in a space, because my youngest was sleeping through the night, I was able to start waking up early, and I would reset the kitchen and have breakfast ready, or almost completely ready before the kids would wake up, and we would start school after they started eating. So we would make sure that they would get dressed and brush their teeth and all that stuff, and they would have some time to play while I was finishing breakfast, and then we would immediately go into school. And that is not something that we were able to do at the beginning of the school year. We'll see how it goes going forward with this new little baby that's coming, but I do like that rhythm that we've been in, and that has been helpful. But one of the things is that because we're doing the homeschool, and like I said, we have a lot of little kids, I want to make sure that I'm still fostering relationships outside of school, and I'm having a hard time still feeling like I can sit down and read a book or play a board game or play with Barbies or help my son with Legos or whatever he wants to do, because I have a hard time focusing on other things that need to get done. And we are doing better about delegating certain things. So my kids do have chores 2 days a week that they have to deep clean their room or deep clean the playroom. And of course they help with stuff every day, but we noticed that my children were having burnout from having a chore every single day, and I can't blame them because they do help with other things. So they felt like they were cleaning all the time. So 2 days a week they have something scheduled. They still help during the week. I kind of got out of the habit of my oldest helping with unloading the dishwasher every day. We need to get back into that. Like I said, we have young kids, and so we're just now starting to be able to get into more things. Like my 4-year-old, for example, can now put her laundry away, and that's something we've been working on this last year, which is helpful, but it's just getting into these rhythms to help with that type of thing. So that's something I still want to work on this next coming year. I wanted to get used to saying no more and making our school a priority. I think we did a great job with it this year. There have been for sure things that I did not sign up for, or I didn't even look up to see if there was something for us to do, because I wanted us to make school more of a priority, which we have been. Some of the things that did help with this is that if it's during, between 9 and 12, I do not have my phone by me. My husband knows he cannot call me or text me unless it's an emergency. And that's been really helpful. Okay, the next goal that I had was reading more books for me. That was not homeschooling or parenting related. I smashed this goal. I have been loving reading again. For me, it's been really good for me, and that's something that I want to continue into this next year. And then my last goal was to continue doing YouTube videos on here. This is something that that's a hobby for me that I really do enjoy. I love talking about homeschool and what we do in our school and different curriculum and all of that. I really do enjoy it. It was difficult this last year with the different surgeries and stuff I had. Like I had a tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy. I couldn't make videos during that time because I couldn't talk. So that was difficult, but I really do enjoy this platform and this kind of community that we're growing and stuff like that. So I'm really proud of myself for how consistent I was able to be this last year despite everything else. So that was our goals for last year. And now our new goals for 2026. So for homeschool related, I am going to do a goal of 600 hours outside. I'm still going to use the 1,000 hours of 1,000 hours outside app to help us track. But I'm only going to do the goal of 600. We have a baby that's going to be born. Want to make sure that I'm healing properly and all those things. And I also don't want to put the added pressure on myself for needing to do 1,000 hours. If we get over at 600, great, but we're going to start at that for this next school year. As the next one is, I want us to finish All About Reading Level 2 and start All About Reading Level 3 with my 7-year-old. I think this is pretty doable because we're already halfway through Level 2. So I think that is a pretty realistic goal. And the next one is I wanted to start Math with Confidence Kindergarten and All About Reading Level 1 with my preschooler. I want to take things slow with her because she doesn't turn 5 until November. And if she were in the public school system, she wouldn't even be starting kindergarten this year. But I do think she's needing more with math and stuff like that. And she's doing so well with her letter recognition and stuff like that, that I think that she would be able to start that this year. And then this one is the one homeschool goal I'm not sure if we're going to be able to meet, but this last school year, because we homeschool year round, we don't usually take a traditional like summer break, But my son really wanted the month of August off this last year before he started second grade. August is his birthday month, but also it's so nice outside, and we want to be able to go and do things outside and not have to worry about school. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to meet the school since we have baby coming, and I want to make sure that we take enough time off for that, and I'm not pressuring myself or my kids to get back in when, you know, there are so many changes that come with adding a new family member. But I would still like to be able to do, if not the whole month, maybe 3 weeks off in August before we start the next school year. Now for personal goals. Main one is to have this baby and to be able to really soak in time. When I had my recovery was really, really great, and we were so intentional leading up to her birth that we did not do school. We slowly went into things because we didn't know if we were going to have a colicky baby or if there were going to be any health issues that came up or anything like that. So I really want to set us up that way again, so that we try to have a smooth transition for everyone, not just myself, but for everyone in the family. I want to continue to kind of let things go, kind of like I already mentioned. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet, but one of the things that we might be doing is adding some more like responsibility type things for my kids. One of the things that's really hard for me as a parent, and maybe you relate, is the mental load of, did you brush your teeth? Are you sure you brush your teeth? Did you also wash your face? Did you put your clothes in the hamper? That type of thing. And I want to get that off my mind. And we've been trying to do, we've tried to do checklists and stuff like that in the past, and it just hasn't stuck. Especially because if I'm working, it's not something my husband's used to looking at, and my kids never were able to get into a routine where they just continuously looked at the board to see if that was something that they needed to do or not. I am going to be having a pretty extensive maternity leave for 20 weeks. So that potentially could be the time where we are setting those routines and we get those in place. I've also thought about getting the Skylight calendar because it's a fun tablet, right? And I've heard from a lot of people that if they use that calendar for the checklists and stuff like that for their children, that they use that even if they never used a paper system and they use it long term. So I'm considering that. It's not something I want to spend the money on right now, but I am looking into that. But I'm just trying to find other ways to relieve my mental load and get my children more independent when it comes to things like that, so I'm not needing to worry about those so much. So I want to continue building the relationship with my kids. Like I said, I'm with my kids all the time, but I want to spend more intentional, and we do a good job, my husband and I, making sure that we are spending one-on-one time with our kids, where we take just one of them to the store with us, or we'll go and get coffee or something. We do have these charts that we use when the kids are caught doing something kind without being told or anything like that. They get a heart on their chart, and when the chart is completed, they get a reward of doing something one-on-one with mom or dad. So we're really intentional about that, but I want to be more intentional about doing board games or just sitting on the floor and playing with them and stuff like that. So that's something I want to work on this next year. And then I also want to continue reading books. For me, that is something that's been really great for my mental health. And I know it's going to be hard when this new baby comes to be able to prioritize that, but I don't want to lose that just because we're having this new baby. So that is another goal that I have for this next year. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really lets me know what kind of videos you like to see on this channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your goals are for this next coming year. If you set goals, if you reached any of your goals from this previous year, I would really like to know. hit that subscribe button. It is a free way for you to be notified of future videos, and I can't wait to catch you guys next time. Bye.